Hey gang, it's Platt here, and we're continuing on our wine series, and we're going to talk about another important French wine region, and that is Burgundy. Burgundy is located in eastern France along the western banks of the Saône River. Burgundy is known for dry reds that come from Pinot Noir and whites that come from Chardonnay. Burgundy itself has the highest number of appellations within its borders. There's roughly around 100 AOC appellations within there. And we'll kind of discuss why that is or how they get to that number. One of the first things is Burgundy itself is divided into 5 main regions. Côte de Nuit, Côte de Beaune, Côte Chalonnaise, Mâconnaise, and finally probably the one that some people might actually know, and that's Chablis. It's a wine term we kind of use in the U.S. for Chardonnay to a certain extent, but there's Chablis. Also, conceptually, Beaujolais is part of this, part of Burgundy, but the way the wines are labeled and the way they're kind of thought of, just kind of thought of as their own entity. And some people also think Chablis kind of off on its own because geographically, Chablis kind of off to the side of the other 4 regions. But just mentioning that let you know. Within those regions, there's kind of an AOC subclassification or way they classify the vineyards within there. There's 4 designations: regional, village, premier cru, and grand cru. Grand cru being the top or highest quality wines produced. Where Burgundy kind of differs from Bordeaux is Bordeaux, they classify the chateau, or kind of the winemaker who's producing, the Chateau Lafite Rothschild. In Burgundy, they're worried about classifying basically that chunk of land, that microclimate is where they're focused on. So that's kind of a compare and contrast with Bordeaux. And why that microclimate is so important in Burgundy especially is because Burgundy's fairly far north on the globe as far as winemaking regions go. And in the summertime, everybody gets plenty of sunlight straight down on the grapes, however. But in the wintertime, or in later parts of the years, the sun's angle is a little lower there, and you kind of need something up on a slope where the sun's angle, you can get a good angle of sunlight on that grape where it can fully mature, you really produce those sugars and what have you. And they found that wines grown in like the flat part of a valley or what have you don't pick up as much of the sunlight as further up the hill. So that's how they classify it. Regional AOCs are in that valley. The village AOCs are right up the foothill where you're starting to elevate. And then Premier Cru and Grand Cru are right there in the middle. Grand Cru's right in the sweet spot, and sandwiching it is the Premier Cru up those hills where they get that right angle of the sunlight to really produce the best quality grapes. And like I said, it's that slope that's important, and in France they call it côte, or if you see côte, that means slope on the bottle. So Côte de Beaune is the slope of Beaune. A couple other grapes to mention within Burgundy. You have Aligote, which is a white grape, and Gamay, which is a red grape. If you remember when we tried Beaujolais, that was the primary grape of Beaujolais. Couple of terms also you'll see on bottles that are a little from Burgundy that are a little different. You'll see Climate, which is kind of a delimited vineyard area. Think of it as kind of like a giant field. You might see these big hay fields somewhere. That hay field itself, or that field for X amount of distance, wherever, whether it's on a plateau or wherever, has its own kind of microclimate. And that's what they're kind of marking there with that Climate. And then you also see a term called clos, C-L-O-S, and that is a walled climate. Back in the day, a lot of monasteries produced their own wines, and they would wall off these vineyards, A, to stop thieves, and B, because it kind of created its own microclimate. Obviously, it would block certain breezes. Maybe if you were worried about a north wind, you would block that. And they found that helped kind of control the microclimate, or that created its own microclimate. So those 2 terms you might see on a bottle. Within Burgundy, you have 33 Grand Cru designations and 600 plus Premier Cru designations. Now that does not mean each one of those are their own AOC, because remember we have about 100 here. So you'll have 2 or 3 of each of those in a certain AOC. The particular one we're going Bordeaux or Burgundy wine, forgive me, that we're going to try today is the Cave de Genouilly Bourgogne Aligote. I know that was a lot of French to swallow. This is a 2016. The AOC itself, and what's labeled biggest, is Bourgogne Aligote, or basically Aligote wine produced in Burgundy. Remember, Bourgogne is another word for Aligote. Now, this Aligote is produced in the Côte Chalonnaise region. And Aligote is a white wine grape that produces dry, acidic wines with floral and herbal notes, if you've never seen the grape before. So, let's give her a try. After trying all those French terms, I could use a drink. Alright, kind of a little lighter in color. Get some crispness on the nose, not a lot of fruit. Lighter body, definitely get the acid on the side. I get real light apple, pearish, floral, a little floral. I don't get a lot of the herb, but I do get a little floral. Some sweetness. It's just a nice light wine. Something I would drink with maybe a pre-meal salad or something. The acidity definitely gets the salivation going, but I don't know if I'd pair it with anything like maybe an charcuterie plate or something with stronger cheeses. Meats. I don't think I'd pair it with that, but yeah, something like a light appetizer, I guess, to get you going. This might pair with, but nice little wine. Well, I hope you like this video, and I hope you appreciate my attempt at some of the French. If you did, please subscribe down below. Any questions, comments, or concerns, you can leave them in the comment section, or you can always contact me on the Twitter page. Till next time, bottoms up.